Bedtime stories for adults. If, like me, some of your fondest memories are of being tucked in and hearing a favorite story as you drifted off to sleep, you'll love this channel. Here, you'll find gentle bedtime readings of my own books, narrated by my assistant May, in a soft, soothing voice designed to help you relax. No jarring sound effects, no sudden noises, just calm, feel good stories to ease you into sleep. If you enjoy these stories and would like to support the channel, you can also find all of my books available on Amazon. It was late afternoon when I hit fresh air and going over to my battle bear when I spied an ox-drawn trader's cart with a beautiful fishing pole sticking out of it. I tied my map to my bear and walked over to take a better look. And strangely, everything I needed was laid out on the side of the cart. Under the rod was a tackle box. Beside that, a shaving mirror, a beautiful set of scrub brushes with a soft suede apron with pockets to hold them, and in the bottom corner, an old bone pipe. But I found myself mostly looking at the fishing rod. The night elf trader came up beside me and said, "Isn't she a beauty, Sergeant? You know I was tempted to use her myself this morning at this pretty little lake where I stopped to fish. But my old rod got me these 3 nice sagefish, a good 18 pounds each. So stick with your luck, I say, Sergeant." I took no never mind that the night elf trader knew to call me Sergeant. After all, I was married to one, so I knew of their powerful intuition. "You have me at a disadvantage, friend," I said. "Oh, Kelsor, a humble trader and merchant at your service, Sergeant," he oozed out. "Well, Kelsor, tell me about this rod, please," I said. He took it off his cart and handed it to me. "I got it off an orc regular I spied fishing at an oasis in the Northern Barrens. He was having extremely good luck with it. Unfortunately, not such good luck with the raptor that was behind him." "That's a good story, Kelsor," I said and smiled. "One a military man might appreciate, Sergeant." 3 gold, please." "Throw in the tackle box," I asked. He took down the tackle box and opened it. "Of course, Sergeant, but you should know the tackle in it is armature at best," he said. "I appreciate your honesty, Kelsor. Sold, and you would have got 4 gold if you told me you slit that orc's throat yourself." I smiled. "I'll remember that, Sergeant. And thank you. The shaving mirror, the brushes, and the pipe, Kelsor, if you would." I pointed and requested. "The shaving mirror, common, gnome construction, but well made. The brushes are dwarven, but you already knew that, Sergeant. Your mother has a set just like them, and the bone pipe has rather a sad story to it. Made of mammoth ivory by a proud father for his son in the Navy, who was lost at sea before he could give it to him. And my last can of green apple tobacco like your grandfather uses to smoke. And of course the 3 fish for your bear. Shall we say 9 gold, 60 silver, Sergeant?" "I have no silver on me, so 10 gold it is," I said. "And thank you, Kelsor." "No thank you, Sergeant," he said as he carefully bagged everything up. "I knew this sale was coming, and to a military man, but to a king's guard, that caught me off guard, and quite the surprise and honor, Sergeant." He smiled and handed me my merchandise, and I gave him his gold and asked, "Are you around here a lot, Kelsor?" "Oh, I go everywhere, Sergeant, but our paths will cross again." He smiled. "Well, till then, Kelsor," I said as I left. I thought, nice fellow that Kelsor. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Still, nice fellow. "Go ahead, Sergeant." "Oh, Sergeant, a strange man dropped this off for you earlier today," she said as she went under the desk and brought up a short bow and a quiver of arrows. "And this note, Sergeant," she said as she handed me the note. Strange, I thought, no one knows I'm here. I quickly read the note aloud. "Sergeant, I've had this bow in my cart for a long time and never sold it. This morning it spoke to me saying it needed to be with you. I don't know how or why, Sergeant, just it wanted to be with you. So I dropped it off here. Now when I have a feeling this strong, I never know if it's good or bad. And since it is a weapon, Sergeant, no charge. I included a quiver of arrows with it, Sergeant, for a bow without an arrow is useless. For the arrows, 30 silver the next time we meet. Kelsor." "Ha! Night elves, they always creep me out, Sergeant." Martha said, "Really? You who speaks to animals?" I chastised. She went back to sorting her mail without a word. So yes, the lunch was a bit of a setup, but went off well, I'd say. Then through the porthole and ended up in Stormwind, though. I thought I was thinking Loch Modan, but I guess you were on my mind from previous jumps. So the tram from Stormwind to Ironforge, then a griffin to Loch Modan. Then coming out of the griffin station, I was called to, by name, by a night elf trader named Kelsor, who said he knew you and was going right by the Zart Ranch if I needed a lift. I took the ride and had a pleasant chat and got off at the ranch and knocked on the door for your mother who wasn't around. Author's note. In the next scene, you may notice a very obvious change in Kelsor's behavior and personality. That is entirely intentional. From this book forward, I chose not only to have Kelsor represent my dear friend Peter, but to become him in spirit, right down to his mannerisms, rhythms of speech, humor, and flamboyant energy. I wanted Peter to be remembered the way I knew him, not as a footnote, but as a presence. Peter was a master of World of Warcraft, brilliant, hilarious, and unforgettable. When he spoke in game, his character would emote the exact gestures, poses, and sass that matched his words. It was funny as hell to watch, and you couldn't help but be drawn into his theatrics. If he had something to give you in game, he would never mail it. Never just trade on the fly. Oh, no. He always insisted on meeting in person at the old ice cream cart in Stormwind, gone now, sadly, like too many good things. And if you tried to thank him or do anything nice in return, he'd bat his virtual eyelashes and say, "Oh, darling, just buy me an ice cream. My thighs simply won't forgive me if I buy one myself." That was Peter. Warm, witty, one of a kind. So if Kelsor makes you smile, laugh, shake your head, or roll your eyes, good. That means I did my job. That means Peter is alive on the page, just as he was in the game. Larger than life, impossible to ignore, and forever ready with a wink, a flourish, and a little bit of mischief. That's when a creaking trader's wagon rolled into view. Its wheels clattered over the cobblestones, drawn by a pair of great oxen bedecked with bells and ribbons. Standing at the reins, as dazzling as a parade float, was none other than Kelsor. "Sergeant Nimicie," he called, his voice sing-song and dramatic. The wagon jerked to a stop, and he climbed down with a flourish. Kelsor was impossible to mistake. Tall and slender, his movements fluid as water. He wore a sweeping violet coat embroidered with silver thread, a silk cravat tied in a bow at his throat, and rings glittered on nearly every finger. His long night elf hair spilled down past his shoulders, streaked with indigo dye, and he leaned on the cart with wrists crossed delicately. "Oh, good. I thought I might miss you two." He smiled with a mischievous sparkle in his almond eyes. "Kelsor?" I said, stunned. "How the hell did you get here?" He leaned close, lowering his voice as though sharing a scandal. "Oh, I go everywhere, Sergeant. And no, I'm not the assassin you hunt. But thank you for thinking I could be. I'm much too cowardly, Sergeant, I'm afraid." He gave me a sly grin, then turned with theatrical grace to Nimicie. "Nimicie, my dear, it is so good to see you alive." He reached for her hand, pressing it gently in his long fingers before giving it a shake as though it were the rarest treasure. "Did you know, Sergeant," he went on, his voice carrying mock horror as he placed a hand dramatically against his cheek, "the last time I saw her, your mother had a shotgun to her middle? Well, I made a hasty retreat from that situation, I can assure you." He finished with a tilt of his head and a sly wink. I couldn't help but smile. Nimicie smirked and shook her head at his antics. "Speaking of dangerous," Kelsor pivoted back to his wagon and rummaged through an ornate chest, and the bracelets on his wrists clinking musically. "I just happened to find another set of Saran arrows, and I thought of Nimicie straight away. Sergeant, you'll find it interesting. This set comes with one special shaft, an unbreakable binding net. You've one in your set as well, Sergeant. All Saran sets match, you know." He held one gleaming green-fletched arrow delicately as though it were a jewel. "And this," he added, producing a small jar, "a gift of indulgence, a jar of magical topographical anesthetic skin cream, used by tattoo artists in the Southlands when they jab away with their shark tooth needles." He pressed it into my palm. "I'm all for suffering for art, but I've never seen a picture worth being stabbed thousands of times for." Nimicie and I both burst into laughter. Kelsor smiled in satisfaction, then named his price. "Now let's see. 3 gold for the Saran arrows, 1 gold for the salve, and you still owe me 30 silver for the last set. Shall we say 4 gold, 30 silver?" He extended his manicured hand, a flash of jeweled rings catching the sun. 5 gold it is, Kelsor, and thank you," I replied, dropping the coins into his palm. He clasped them to his chest with exaggerated delight. "No, Thank you, Sergeant. You and your fiancé are quickly becoming my favorite customers. Oh, speaking of, how did those arrows work out for young Kylie? The ones you bought, not the set her father bought? He leaned forward, eyes keen with nosy delight. She got a nice bear with one, I said proudly. Right through the heart, dropped him in the stream, beautiful shot. I clapped his shoulder. Her family's got meat for a good long while. Oh, good. Good for her. Kelsor's face softened for a rare moment, almost sincere. I'm sure her family needed it. Then, just as swiftly, his flamboyance returned. Well, I must be off to make sales. Ta-ta! He sprang back onto his wagon, adjusted his violet coat, and cracked the reins. The oxen lurched forward, bells jingling as Kelsor waved extravagantly over his shoulder. His voice floated back in a sing-song farewell. Don't get eaten by your bear, darlings! The song faded into chuckles and breathless laughter, the rhythm of hooves still carrying us along. Nimicie rode close at my side, grinning under her hood, cheeks flushed red from the cold and singing. I leaned toward her and muttered, That Kelsor will keep me awake half the night, thinking about his sass and his silk ribbons. I swear the man leaves more perfume in the snow than a wagon load of duchesses. She laughed so hard her mare tossed its head. Oh, aye, Dawn. And I saw the way he winked at you. You'd best hope I don't dream of him tonight, or you'll get no sleep at all. From a few riders ahead, Valdor twisted in his saddle and called back, If that elf ever takes up permanent lodging in Dunmorog, the entire kingdom will smell like lavender soap and goose feathers. That had the whole company roaring again. A sudden double screech from Sarge shattered the quiet. We both looked toward the gate, where our one-winged sentinel stood on the fence, feathers fluffed, one wing stretched wide across the path, blocking a wagon. Sergeant! Nimicie! Over here, darlings! Came a sing-song voice, unmistakably flamboyant and melodic. Your guard doesn't seem to like me much. Won't let me onto your wonderful ranch, I groaned, half smiling. Oh no. Nimicie's grin widened. Oh yes, Kelsor, the merchant of secrets, perched on the seat of a colorfully painted wagon pulled by two suspiciously shiny oxen with ribbons in their tails. We jogged down the path as Sarge gave another irritated chirp, his golden eye trained on the newcomers. Nimicie raised her hands. Easy, Sarge. Let them in. We'll risk it. She turned toward the wagon. Come on in, Kelsor. It's not you. It's your oxen he doesn't like. He says they're filthy beasts, always covered in bugs. Kelsor flicked the reins and guided his wagon through the gate with a theatrical sigh. He dismounted in a single fluid motion, every step a performance. Filthy beasts, he says. Oh, Sergeant, I'll have you know Edna and Eddie are bathed daily. They're cleaner than most nobles' consciences. He strutted right past me and Nimicie to the fence post where Sarge now stood like a judge overseeing fools. Normally, Kelsor began, leaning back on his heels, one hand pressed dramatically to his chest, I would agree with you, my beautiful guardian darling. He leaned in close, lowering his voice as if sharing a scandalous secret with the eagle. But I assure you, my pets are pure as moonlight. True, they have a slight body odor problem, but who among us doesn't? Nimicie's shoulders shook with laughter as Sarge gave a single, sharp chirp in response. Kelsor smiled, batting his lashes. That's a beautiful scarf you're wearing, my winged knight. May I? Another proud chirp. He said, go ahead. Nimicie translated, wiping a tear of laughter from her eye. He's amused by you. Ah, a bird of taste and generosity, Kelsor cooed, reaching forward to delicately rub the edge of Sarge's scarf between jeweled fingers. Sheep's wool, naturally dyed in Kingsguard blue, exquisite craftsmanship. My, you are a lucky creature. Then, with a sly tilt of his head, he leaned in close to the bird again and whispered, How much do you want for it, darling? There was a moment of perfect silence. Then Sarge gave a sharp squawk, turned his back, and climbed back up to his signpost with all the dignity of a king, dismissing a fool. Kelsor put a hand to his cheek, wide-eyed. Well, I've been rejected by royalty before, but never by aviary royalty. Nimicie, still laughing, clutched my arm for balance. I'm not going to repeat what he said, Kelsor. I'm far too much of a lady for that, but let's just say, it's not for sale. Kelsor clutched his chest in mock outrage, then grinned. Then I suppose I'll have to find something else worth trading my secrets for. Perhaps gold? Kelsor floated over to us like a silk ribbon caught in a warm breeze. So good to see you again, darlings, he sang, his hands fluttering as he approached. Nimicie, my sweet dish girl, tell me, how was the wedding night? Nimicie smiled, turned to glance at me, then leaned close to whisper in Kelsor's ear. As she spoke, his face went through an entire opera of emotions: shock, delight, scandal, and finally pure envy. Really? Oh my. Oh, you lucky girl. Oh my god. After that, I would be too. I blinked. What's going on? They both turned in perfect unison, grinning like a pair of cats caught with cream on their whiskers. Nothing, they said together. Girl talk. Right, I said flatly. Kelsor, not that I'm not pleased to see you. I am, my friend. But what brings you here? He turned dramatically, one hand on his hip, the other gesturing grandly toward his wagon. Ah, yes. To business, then. I thought you might be interested in a few things to welcome your new guests, and perhaps a few small luxuries for you and your lovely staff. With a theatrical flourish, he strutted to the side of his wagon, blew on his fist for luck, and smacked the side panel. It popped open with a satisfying thunk, revealing shelves lined in deep violet velvet. Trinkets glimmered under the sunlight, some I recognized from past dealings, others brand new, and at the very back, something large stood covered in cloth. Well, Kelsor purred. Shall we browse, darlings? He gave a mournful sigh, clutching at his chest. The gifts you bought for the Floggins before, oh, I'm sorry, the Foggins now, were lost in that terrible fire. Burned so hot, my loves, it melted that beautiful garden gate, the one with the carving of chili upon it. His fingers trembled as if even the memory were too much to bear. Then he suddenly brightened. So, at great personal effort, I've replaced everything. Another set of brushes and apron, another bone pipe, no sailor story to this one, alas. And, Sergeant, your grandfather's green apple tobacco. And this. He whipped off the cloth with the flair of a stage magician revealing his grand finale. Beneath it stood a perfect replica of the Floggins' wrought iron gate. Chili's likeness, carved in brilliant white on black iron, his eyes painted bright sapphire blue. Now this one, my dear Sergeant, did not come cheap, Kelsor said, wagging a jeweled finger. Oh, and 3 new sets of saron arrows for Kylie. Lost hers in the fire, didn't she? Because you told her to leave them at home, naughty man. He wagged again, smiling. Oh, and before I forget, Sergeant darling. He rummaged in the back of the wagon and produced a long, familiar shape. A fishing pole, the same model as the last 2 you managed to lose. It spoke to me and said it wanted to be with you. So here, from me to you. A groom's gift, you lucky dog. He handed me the pole with a wink. All right, how much this time, Kelsor? Because of the expense of that divine gate and the 3 sets of arrows, let's say 150 gold even. Done. I paid him on the spot. Just then, Chili lumbered up behind us, huffing a deep hiff. Oh, all right, Nimicie said with mock annoyance. But you're such a tattletale, Chili. Kelsor fanned himself dramatically. Oh, I'm in love. Is this your polar bear, Sergeant? Still chuckling, I nodded. Yes, Kelsor, meet Chili. Chili, this is Kelsor, the merchant of secrets. Kelsor swept past me, robes swirling, and approached the bear as though greeting royalty. You are a beautifully handsome bear, Chili, he cooed, then glared back at his oxen. Edna, eyes off! I saw him first! He stamped his foot for emphasis. Nimicie burst out laughing, nearly doubling over as I fought to keep a straight face. I'll be dreaming of you tonight, Chili, Kelsor said with a wistful sigh, brushing his fingers across the bear's cheek. Then he turned back to us, suddenly all business again. Now, Nimicie, darling, don't go anywhere. I've got things for you as well. But first, let's help the good sergeant unload, shall we? He spun on his heel toward the wagon. Chili, be a lamb and help us with this heavy gate, darling. Kelsor tied a sturdy rope around the gate, looped it over the bear's massive shoulders, and fastened the other end neatly to the opposite side. Now, back, you studly beast! Chili took 2 slow, heavy steps backward, the gate rising cleanly from the wagon, now hanging like a medal across his neck. Kelsor clapped his hands together in satisfaction. Perfect! My darling bear! You've missed your calling as a showman. He handed me the bag of the remaining goods, winked, and smoothed his hair back with both hands. Now then, Nimicie, my dear. Kelsor closed his wagon with a satisfied hum, blew lightly on his loose fist for luck, and gave the side a sharp smack. With a click and a soft shimmer of runes, the panel swung open again, revealing an entirely new inventory gleaming on the same velvet shelves. Inside sat a goblin masterclass tinker's kit, a city-in-the-sky garden kit, and 4 hanging pendants shaped like wolf heads with feathered wings sprouting from their sides. Now, Nimicie, my sweet, Kelsor began, voice slipping into a merchant's purr. The Goblin Masterclass Tinker's Kit, barely used, practically new. I acquired it from a goblin trader who was getting a little too handsy. He lifted his left hand to his chest and, with a faint metallic whisper, drew a jeweled dagger from his sleeve just far enough to catch the light, then slid it back with a grin of wicked satisfaction. The poor dear. Someone slit his throat, he said, smiling with unholy delight. But this, he continued, turning to the pink leather case beside it, this I got personally from the city in the sky. He opened the case, revealing rows of glass jars and crystal flasks filled with softly glowing seeds and powders, pulsing like tiny stars. Here, my loves, is a collection of every magical plant on Azeroth. Fruits, vegetables, herbs, and roots. A gardener's and potion maker's dream. There are only 9 or 10 like it in the world. He turned his palm upward, inspecting his nails. Of course, I could never use it. I'd have to get these lovely hands dirty. And we simply couldn't have that. He grinned. I'll let you have both for 50 gold. Before I could say anything, Nimicie reached up and took one of the pendants, running her fingers over the intricate carving. What are these, Kelsor? She asked. Kelsor's expression darkened slightly, lips curling in distaste. A bad investment, I'm afraid, darling. Wolfhawks. Magical flying mounts, quite powerful, but they're hideously blue. No one wants a blue wolfhawk. He glided toward Nimicie, plucked the pendant gently from her hand, and rubbed his thumb across the silver. In an instant, a sky-blue wolf appeared before us, ethereal, its fur rippling like mist, feathers sprouting along its legs. Its eyes glowed like ice. Before anyone could react, I lunged forward, wrapping my arms around both Nimicie and Kelsor, and dragging them back toward the wagon. Just as I did, Chili thundered up, leaping into the spot where the illusion stood. He snarled, claws digging furiously, ripping a 2-foot crater into the dirt before realizing the creature wasn't real. The iron gate clanged behind us like a bell, and for a moment even Kelsor went silent. And that, I whispered tightly between them, is why wolves are not allowed on this ranch. I let them go and turned to Kelsor. Sorry about that. He patted my hand gently, face returning to calm composure. Quite all right, Sergeant, he said, then drifted gracefully toward Chili, who stood panting and confused. Oh, who hurt you, you poor boy? Kelsor crooned, cupping Chili's massive head between his jeweled fingers. Nimicie, darling. I'm counting on you to get to the bottom of this and help this magnificent beast. He glided back toward her, wagging his finger in mock scolding. And speaking of beasts, if you two are looking for work and travel mounts for this fine ranch, I do have one more thing to show you. With a dramatic twirl, he whisked to the back of his wagon and began rummaging through it, singing off-key to himself. I've got a lovely pair of coconuts. Clatter, clang. Ah! He emerged triumphantly, holding a large black briefcase. Opening it with flair, he revealed 20 brown pendants shaped like moose heads, each adorned with gleaming antlers that shimmered faintly with enchantment. Flying moose mounts, my loves. The only ones in the world. Large, strong, a bit mischievous. Another bad investment, I'm afraid, he said with a delicate sigh. Nimicie's eyes lit up. Dawn, they'd be perfect for heavy lifting and forest work. You could give one to each employee. Ranch transport, patrols, everything. They'd be flying representatives of the King's Guard Ranch. I rubbed my chin, thinking. How much, Kelsor? For one? He asked, already smirking. No, the whole case. Oh, I couldn't let it go for less than, say, 50 gold? Done, I said without hesitation, handing him the coins. He grinned, snapped the case shut, and whispered something in a language I didn't recognize. Then he tapped it twice. A soft blue light flashed inside the case, humming faintly. There, he said smoothly, an extra gift. I do hope you'll like it. He turned to Nimicie. Now, darling, did you want those kits? Yes, I do, Kelsor, but I'm not Dawn. I'll give you 25 gold for both. She folded her arms, smiling slyly. Kelsor pouted, tapping his chin. Then, with a long, dramatic sigh and an open palm turned aside, said, 30, final offer. Done. Nimicie handed him the coins, bouncing on her heels as he accepted them. Ah, bargaining women, Kelsor said playfully, pretending to faint as he helped her unload the kits. Then, with the grace of a dancer, he stepped up onto his wagon, smoothing his hair and settling himself on the seat. Well, darlings, good luck with the ranch. Chili, darling. Think of me when the moon is high. He blew a kiss toward the bear, turned his cart around, and flicked the reins. "Goodbye, you beautiful bird," he called up to Sarge, who responded with a proud chirp. And with that, Kelsor, the merchant of secrets, disappeared down the snowy trail, ribbons fluttering from his wagon as Sarge squawked and chattered to himself long after he'd gone. In loving memory, Kelsor, the merchant of secrets. In the Quest Tales series, Kelsor is the mysterious night elf trader who always seems to appear just when he's needed most. Wagon creaking into view, eyes sparkling with mischief, and a knowing smile that says he's already 2 steps ahead of you. Whatever you seek, Kelsor already has it, whether you realize you need it or not. Intuitive, flamboyant, and unforgettably witty, he's a merchant of both goods and gossip, always ready to trade a scandalous story for a secret of your own. He drifts in and out of every book I'll ever write, sometimes as a whisper in the woods, sometimes as a flash of silver hair and crimson streak under moonlight, but always as that familiar spark of laughter in the dark. In real life, Kelsor was inspired by my dear friend Peter Leary, a brilliant soul who knew World of Warcraft inside and out. In our guild, rumors swirled that he might have been a Blizzard monitor, though none of us could ever prove it. What we did know was that Peter, much like Kelsor, always had what you needed before you even asked for it, and he'd tell you why you needed it too. Flamboyant, feminine, funny, and openly gay at a time when courage like that was rare, Peter's bravery shone through laughter, kindness, and spirit. He passed on December 21st, 2009, due to complications from AIDS, but his warmth, wit, and heart will live forever in the pages of Quest Tales, and in the memories of all who knew him. Goodbye, darling. Don't get eaten by your bear. I'd hate to have to bury bear shit in your grave. Dedicated to the memory of Peter Kelsor Leary. Bedtime stories for adults. If, like me, some of your fondest memories are of being tucked in and hearing a favorite story as you drifted off to sleep, you'll love this channel. Here, you'll find gentle bedtime readings of my own books, narrated by my assistant May, in a soft, soothing voice designed to help you relax. No jarring sound effects, no sudden noises, just calm, feel-good stories to ease you into sleep. If you enjoy these stories and would like to support the channel, you can also find all of my books available on Amazon.